allowing me that break. I appreciate it so very much. And what's our battle cry for today? The battle cry as we go through this program, and I'm going to tell you all through the program, is unity. Unity, unity. This is our only savior to this Barack Obama barrage of community organizing, and that is unity. Without unity, we will be controlled and finally taken over by this philosophy of community organizing through Saul Alinsky and this whole idea behind this whole thing. We're going to start with a little bit later in the program. Have you noticed, and I'm sure you have, and it probably made you notice what's been going on in the past too. Did you see when Benghazi came up? And they really pushing for it in Congress and in the House. They started pushing, we want answers, we want answers. Well, he wanted Benghazi to come up. This is one of the crises that he's hoping will bring about the crisis that will bring this change. However, it got a little bit too hot. So what did he do? Immediately, for some reason, out of a crack somewhere, it was leaked that the IRS had been targeting. Then they started lying about that. And as soon as they started lying about that, this was a brand new controversy designed to take the attention away from Benghazi. And it did a little bit, but not enough. Next thing you know, Benghazi's right on top of it. Now there's two, and they're dealing with both of them at the same time. They said, yes, we're going to get to the bottom of this IRS garbage, and we're going to also get to the bottom of Benghazi. We're going to nail you on both of them. Well, at that point, it really started heating up a little bit too much, so what did they do? They threw out the AP scandal. Crisis number 3, hoping that it would take away from Benghazi first and from the IRS second. Benghazi was the point. They wanted to get away from Benghazi. Then what does he do? Barack Obama, lies about this whole thing. I heard about it on the news. And then after... Here's a good example of exactly how indoctrinated his disciples are. His disciples seem to think for some reason that it's okay for all of this stuff to happen, and that what he really needed was just a distraction, just another distraction. Well, how did that work? Not very well, huh? We're going to start with this latest immigration plan, because I think the immigration plan was designed to fire people up. You know, he's been waffling on this issue of immigration for the last 4 years. He promised in the first election he was going to have, quote unquote, comprehensive immigration reform. But he never did anything about it. He didn't move that direction. He didn't talk about it. They pull out their list of excuses as to why they didn't do that. Well, he gets in his second term, and all of a sudden he brings this up. Well, this is one of these points where he's proving that he's a true disciple of Saul Alinsky. And we're going to talk about these methods of Saul Alinsky. You know, when I just mentioned the Benghazi, IRS, the AP scandal, then he comes out with these new rules on drones where they say, yes, we have, through collateral damage, actually killed Americans. We didn't intend to do that. This is a constant, nonstop crisis. And it's just recently that some of you have actually opened your eyes and seen that his entire presidency has been nonstop crisis. Well, this is all Saul Alinsky methods. Saul Alinsky, in case you don't know, he is the founder of community organizing. His philosophy is based on deceit and lying to anyone, a basic lying force to change the fundamental foundation of America. Alinsky's doctrine states that an organizer works in and for an open society, does not have a fixed truth. Everything to him is relative and changing. Now listen closely to this and pay attention, and you're going to see a pattern of everything that Barack Obama is doing is right along with this, and I'm going to prove that he's an expert in this and he's implementing this perfectly. You know, he taught, he lectured, he's been involved in this ever since he was a pup in Kenya and Indonesia. How do you like that? So this doctrine says that an organizer works in and for an open society. Everything to him is relative and changing. All change means disorganization of the old and organization of the new. Now, Obama's employment before becoming president included organizing the Chicagos for some 5 years after graduating from Columbia University. Alinsky defined a community organizer as a revolutionary, a progressive, for whom deception of the populace is permitted, especially of the unthinking populace. So if you're one of these people that think that he is a blithering, bumbling idiot and he has no idea what he's doing, you are one of these unthinking populace. But only to a degree. It doesn't mean you're lost. The ones that are lost are the ones that buy into everything he says non-stop, and they will defend him no matter what he says or what he does. These are the true unthinking populace. His campaign for presidency, his re-election, were based on the concepts of change in accordance, he didn't say this, but it's in accordance with his Alinsky-style training on class warfare. He has been appealing to the entitlement takers. The president's using Alinsky tactics in addressing the immigration issue. After dragging his feet on these promises for the last 4 years, he's now starting to make noises that he wants to start changing this. Now, whether he really believes in comprehensive immigration reform, I think is open to debate. I think what he really wants to do is just cause another division. Now, it's possible that CIR is part of the grand strategy for social change. He's enlisting the help of the feminist social agenda, the Hispanics, the artless young people. You know, another possibility is that he doesn't really want CIR, you know, comprehensive immigration reform, and that these puny little efforts are just enough to appease Hispanics and trying to rupture the Republican Party. Either way, this is all garbage. Immigration reform has evolved into an effort to change America. And, you know, thanks to Obama's radical left money people, among them George Soros, Obama's been successful in bringing about change without accountability. Thanks to an adoring press and an indifferent electorate. Now, I heard somebody earlier today say something about some of the Main Street alphabet networks are coming out against Obama. But you haven't heard of MSNBC or MSNBC. Well, do you know why that is? It's because MSNBC just hired David Axelrod as a news consultant. Now, if you don't know who David Axelrod is, you see him on the Sunday morning talk shows. He is an ardent defender of Barack Obama. In fact, this guy can't get his lips off of Barack Obama's butt long enough to say anything that's not praiseworthy of Obama. This is a direct link between MSNBC, NBC, and the White House. This is why, and this is proof of the White House influencing media, is because MSNBC and NBC have not said anything derogatory about Obama or his administration because Axelrod is in between them. He is the news consultant for this network. Now, the American people and the Republican legislators who have really offered no resistance. Not, or at least none that's made any difference. You know, Republicans, conservatives, libertarians try to hold Obama's minions in check, but they failed. They have failed. And that's because there's been some crafty stonewalling. There's been some sleight of hand maneuvers by the president. All of these are Saul Alinsky methods. You know, what happened with Fast and Furious? It went by the wayside. Nothing ever happened about that. And why? Because as soon as Fast and Furious came up and it started getting hot, too hot, and he seen it wasn't going the direction he wanted to go, he started another one, and another one, and another crisis, and another crisis, and another crisis, and another crisis, because he's searching for that crisis that will allow him to bring about change that he couldn't otherwise make. Rob Emanuel said it best: never let a good crisis go to waste. They are looking for a good crisis, not just a regular crisis. And they're going to keep throwing pebbles in the lake until finally something happens that allows them to have that crisis. Fast and Furious was a good example of a ramping up of these crises coming in at even a faster pace. You know, the Department of Agriculture Secretary has been working with the Mexican government to make food stamps, electronic benefits, and other benefit programs available to illegal aliens who are here in the United States. When it comes to this immigration reform, I don't know if you knew this or not, but there are organizations that are making millions and millions and millions of dollars every time somebody signs up for food stamps or welfare, any kind of federal stimulus program that's giving money to private citizens. And if they can get illegals to sign up for these benefits, then these people that process these, they charge anywhere between 85 cents and $2.50 per transaction. So the more people that they can get to sign up for these benefits, the more money they make. They want millions and millions and millions of people to be on government benefits because they're making just a plethora of money on this whole thing. And they've been working to make sure that these illegals can get these benefits. You know, I've told you folks this before. I'm broadcasting from Oregon. I'm just a little bit south of Portland, Oregon. And here in Oregon, it's illegal to give these benefits to people who are in this country illegally. But they get by that. They bypass that by just saying, well, we're not giving it to any illegals. You say, well, this whole line that's going around the block here are all illegals. I mean, this little Mexican guy who claims that his name is Mildred McGuire, obviously he's not Mildred McGuire. They say, well, yeah, but we don't ask them their immigration status. We don't ask them if they're in this country illegally. Because if they do, then they won't be able to give them benefits. So while it is illegal to give these people benefits, they just simply don't ask. Don't tell us. You know, if you're here illegally, or if they start to say, well, I'm originally from, they say, stop, don't tell me, or I won't be able to help you. Well, the federal government's doing the same thing. Because people are making, big corporations are making big money from this, big money. And, you know, there's also a taxpayer-funded DOA abuse with the hiring of Samuel Bentons, who was paid $3.5 million for providing sensitivity training to DOA and Department of Defense personnel. This guy ridicules the United States by making attendees at training sessions repeat these words. Pilgrims were illegal aliens. Pilgrims were illegal aliens. They tell them that U.S. government agencies discriminated against minorities. U.S. lands were acquired from Mexico illegally. This is what they're telling them. This is being taught. So you see, it's not only our education system that's really indoctrinating. The federal government themselves are perpetuating the very idea that America is bad.